I'm Carly Fiebig and welcome to the Cherry on Top. Today we're headed to one of the best flower shops in Chicago to bring a little bit of sweetness into your home. I feel like I'm in like Disney Channel. Doing like that. We're breaking down everything how to floral. Whether you know a little bit of something or a whole lot of nothing, we're gonna show you how to make gorgeous, stunning bouquets at your house. Look at these. These are gorgeous. These are called dinner plates. I love them. Should we bring in somebody who knows what they're doing?
I do have one of our designers, Kaylee, coming in, and she's gonna help us make these bouquets into an arrangement.
And what do we have here?
Yeah, one of these is our flat lay bouquets. Really fun to also make into your own based arrangement at home. So that's kind of what we're gonna walk through, is how to make one of these into your own based arrangement.
Yeah, because I feel like that's like my biggest problem is I go into a store, whether it's Trader Joe's, a flower store, and I'm like, I want these beautiful arrangements. I don't know what to get, what I'm looking at.
So once we have our stems a little bit nice and loose, I like to kind of organize them and section them off by flower type.
Okay.
That way when I'm recreating the arrangement, I kind of know what stem I'm gonna pick up next. I am taking off the leaves.
Okay, so I never know for like the roses. This rose?
It is.
I never know for the roses. They sometimes come with a lot of like leaves on them. I never know like if I should, I take all them off, but I'm like, do I need those or no?
I would say
I would tear those off. Yeah.
And then even too with the rose, I like to remove just a few of these little petals that maybe look a little creased. That can obviously happen over time with age.
Yeah.
There isn't anything wrong with them. It more so is just a little prettier.
Yeah, to fluff
to
them
the
out.
eye. Yeah. Mainly I like to look for color palette, variety, and different flower types. I'm really big on like different textures. So when I'm looking
at the
to
store, you're not just getting all roses, you're getting multiple types of things.
Yes. To begin, why don't we start with our eucalyptus here? So this is going to create kind of a nice little palette for the rest of the flowers to get set into. Usually when lining up the flower or the greenery stem, I like to be mindful of how long it's going to sit in the vase.
That's another problem. Sometimes these are going to topple over my vase. I'm like, that is. I like to hang it in my shower.
I also like to hang it in my shower.
I know.
And then I'm going to set it in.
And I was even telling Rachel, like sometimes I like use like a candlestick holder or like kind of like whatever I have to just make it like a little more interesting.
Love that,
and not so just like boring from like the vase that you get if you were to get a flower delivery or something, you know?
Yeah. Typically after the greenery, I love to start with my focal flower, and that's always going to be like the largest flower in whatever floral types you have.
Height-wise, width-wise?
Width-wise. So that's going to be our roses. So for your focal flower, you, I think, have one of two options. You can either keep them a little bit higher up and we can play with the height, or you can keep them a little bit more snug and lower so that we can have more fun with these other flower types.
Tip and trick too with roses. Sometimes if you want to flip them upside down and roll the stems.
Like this.
Yeah. Volume of it.
It's like you work at a flower store.
Hold it right here. There you go. As a tip. So once our focal blooms are in.
Why is your station so clean?
Oh no.
What happened over here? Okay.
So the next blooms I sometimes like to go to are going to be our linear flowers. These are going to help kind of really create that overall shape of the arrangement. Which you mentioned earlier. Yes, you love the snapdragon.
Love a snapdragon.
So we're gonna go with these three guys to keep them a little bit longer than the rest. Since they are gonna be the ones that create that shape. After our linears are in, this is kind of where it can get, I think, a little bit confusing for a lot of people, myself included. Is kind of where and what flowers should we place into next. And this part I always just say like whatever flower really speaks to you. These are starting to come back in style so much.
If you just want to squeeze onto this little guy.
That's a good tip.
And then it opens up a little bit, especially if people are coming over right away. Like for dinner and you know that bloom is not going to bloom, just feel free to give it like just a little bit of a
little massage. Why are we cutting at an angle?
It's easier for the flower to drink the water up the stem.
What about flower food? Is that, do you need it? Is it a hoax?
The freshest way is just replacing the water. You don't necessarily need
clean water.
But I always like to do a fresh cut with fresh water at least every like 48 hours.
Oh wow, okay, much
and that'll help.
I'm doing that. Okay, I'm doing it like maybe once a week.
That's okay. That's okay.
This looks great because I feel like it has so much more. If I were to just like toss it and throw it in, it wouldn't look like as artistic or just like anything. It would just kind of look like you just threw them in.
Yeah.
And I think like sometimes when people are picking flowers like for themselves, either at a grocery store, flower shop, wherever, color can be like a little intimidating because I feel like a lot of people are just like white, green, white, green. There's a lot of different colors going on here, and I wouldn't have necessarily like picked these, like these are really pretty, and I wouldn't have necessarily like picked these out at a grocery store. I feel like they look really good. If we were to take this into something smaller, like a bud vase.
I'm kind of one that doesn't prefer greenery in bud vases. Like I would have that linear flower with something
more round.
Yeah, you have those fillers that take up more space. Okay. And if you're looking at a stem and you see like, okay, I have like a little bit here that I can cut off, go ahead, cut it off, put that back into your vase, and then just
repurpose the stem
into the littler vase.
Yeah. And since you do weddings, all things weddings, that's what we love to talk about. What are we seeing as far as like wedding trends?
We're seeing like those very classic tones, but more dimension. So different levels of different blooms, similar to this. Longer stems, that avant-garde feel. Lots of colors, from blues and creams to jewel tones to red and pinks. Like I feel like, yes, we love it too. Yeah. Because now we're not seeing the same things every day.
Same whites
so keep coming with that creative mind. Love it.
The Cherry on Top, a how-to guide for the modern girl.